back. I'm breaking out and I'm very shiny and my makeup looks really bad. But I'm going to show you the first day brush out, which for me, always the worst day. So this is more just an explanation as to how to get the curls from looking what they will into something good. So I'm going to take my headscarf off. Here we go. And I'm just generally going to feel if they're wet. If they are, I would blast them with a hairdryer, first on the hottest speed and then on cool air to make sure they cool back down, because if they're hot, they won't work. I will take out any clips I remember putting in, but I most often forget. These feel suspiciously dry. I would have a wand curler on hand for any that fail. So the way I do it is I sort of hinge the ends, then I just pull down. It's sort of the most frizz minimizing way. Apologies if you can hear Oscar snoring in the background. So yeah, I start at the bottom, I go round. No real system. A lot of people say stop running your hands through your hair at this point, but that's just not possible with my hair. My hair will be so tangly at this point and it will ruin my curls. So I tried it, it didn't work. You might want to try it. So I'm just going to work on taking these out. This is actually quite a fun step. But maybe that's just because the next one sucks so bad. We'll see. So yeah, you can see our sort of rag curl-esque ringlets here. If you were to do a 1830s look, you could leave those in, a la Anne from Gentleman Jack. I feel like I had one pin curl in the back. I've already forgotten. I hope I find it. Yeah, I did. I got it. So these are often the ones that I find highly problematic, just because my hair's very dense in all areas, but especially this area. So it's worth noticing where your hair is dense, I guess. But these are definitely the shiniest curls I've achieved with this sort of little pillow roller, little ravioli, got a little squish inside. And don't worry about them being misshapen, they're fine. You can use them again misshapen. If the squishy bit gets compressed, it'll rise up. It's not really a problem. As you can see, I don't really bother to straighten these out either. I like to have them like not twisted, but that's a problem for the next set I do. And try and release curls the way you want them to sit. So that one was going back, whereas those ones were going down. It's not the end of the world if you don't. So I like to sort of get the front sections to start forming together because then they stay off my face better. I would recommend doing your makeup before your hair, because a lot of vintage hairstyles have your hair going in on your face, which means it's hard to do your makeup without getting makeup everywhere. But I've done that more often than I haven't, but if you can remember to do your makeup first, that's always good. So I will stop brushing these over because, like I said, I find it very annoying having things on my face. And I will just get the duckbill clip I had there before and pin that over while I do this side. Now this one feels a bit wet, but they often can just feel like that because they're sticky from the setting lotion. So it's always worth taking them out and seeing. You can always put them back in and blast them with a hairdryer, or curl them and pin them up, which I would just ask me to explain at another time because I'm quite focused right now. But that is a bit more time consuming. You can do your whole head with just like a pair of hot curlers and some hair grips, but it's very damaging for your hair. And if you have fine hair, you will need to use a lot of hairspray because there is no setting lotion. And hairspray is a crispy motherfucker. So just the last few, although I probably missed some at the back, don't worry. Just try and turn around in front of a mirror, take a photo of the back of your head, or ask someone. So as you can see, I now just look like Shirley Temple. Oh, yep, there was one. Great, I can't even find the end of that one. Wow, I buried that one. So yeah, you've got a bit of a Shirley Temple look, and most people suggest running your hands through your hair. I no longer do that because it just kind of ends. So what I generally do is I will get the bottom ones and start brushing them a couple at a time. Now for me, brushing my hair is always a very painful experience. If it's not normally painful, this probably won't be. But I have very thick, unwieldy hair, so I'm used to it, but experiment with different brushes that you have. I bought this one especially for this because my hair breaks brushes. But yeah, if you normally use a bit of a softer breakable brush, be careful because you might break it. Some people comb through their hair, which is just a terrifying Aryan concept to my Jewish hair. People really like tangle teasers, so if you have a tangle teaser, that's meant to be really good as well. An on-brand one. I got a couple off-brand ones from Superdrug, and they were no good for this. Or my hair. So, mostly a brush out is just about sticking with brushing for as long as you can possibly manage. I like to sort of encourage it to go into curls, but I might not later. So try and incorporate any of the higher up curls into it. And it always looks kind of shit when you first start and you first start brushing. So don't worry if yours looks nothing like this when you do it, or nothing like what you've seen. It's a labour of love. It takes a long time. Once again, I don't know if I'm going to skip through this, but if I do, just know, just keep brushing. It took me way too long to learn that, and I will show you some photos of when I didn't brush enough, and it looks so bad. But this is definitely a 3-day activity to begin with. And don't worry, you're not going to get rid of the curls. The only way to get rid of these curls is washing them out. So this has actually come out as quite a good set. As you can see, it's a lot shorter than it sometimes is, but that's because it's first day. I will find myself putting my curlers back in tonight, as I tend to do that. That's a lot easier, as I use about a third of the curlers and just use big sections. Okay, I'm kind of digging this, so it's all good. I'm gonna get another duckbill. Right, so some duckbill clips and my hairpins, and I'm just gonna organise this how I like. Oh, did I bring? No, I didn't bring my pomade. This is the sort of the final frontier. pomade is generally for men and smells like men and is gross. Or you can get a vintage one which is way overpriced and not worth it. So I got this one because, as you know, my wife has short hair. It kind of just smells like my dad. It's not too bad, but... So just get a tiny bit on the end of your fingers. I use a lot because I've got a lot of hair. And sort of melt it into your hands. And then just run it through your hair. What pomade does is it's smoothing. And a little bit texturizing. But it doesn't sort of add any shine. So you may have to use a high shine hairspray if shine is what you're after. I also have to gel down my edges because my hair is that wild. I'm white people. There's no tutorials how to do it. So this probably isn't useful for anyone but me. But I would use a toothbrush, but I don't have a spare one. And I just sort of... And when I go over to this bit, I'll do that. It does feel kind of gross. But I don't really have a choice. And I will hairspray all of this liberally. So yeah, if you want a nice 30s or 20s look, a sort of flapper look, or a golden age of Hollywood look, this is enough brushing. This is what I tend to stick with on day one, because otherwise I need 2 hours to do my hair. So when I do my sort of second day look, I'll show more of a 30s, 40s or a 50s or even a 60s look. I tend to cycle through the decades through each set, so I'll start off in the 20s or the 30s. Oh god. And then I'll move on to the 40s or the 50s, and then when it's almost time to wash my hair, I will probably do a 60s, or recently I've started curling my hair like this 70s style, which I kind of love, and I hate that I love. Obviously that's not for everyone. But I've been doing that with heat curlers, so kind of a different beast. Right, so this bit is currently my worst enemy. So, as you can see, it's kind of frizzing up. Calls for more pomade. I guess the biggest thing is don't expect your hair to feel nice. If people want to touch it, they can touch like the bottom. So I'm going to stick with a really simple hairstyle today, no sort of large back combing or any of that malarkey. I'm just going to pin up the front. And how I decide to pin up the front is, how does my hair want to be pinned? And then I just listen. I've kind of learned that I can't work against my hair. I kind of just have to do what my hair wants to do. Then, because I don't like this space, I think I will just pin that bit up there. Like I said, for me, it's very much about working with my hair, not against it. Because I will lose. Okay, so that was my hair done for today. I will liberally Alnet it. It's the only brand of hairspray I have ever used. Everyone else is shit. Yeah, so I'll probably focus on the smoother bits, the uppier bits. Sorry, the environment, I guess. Oh, I need to do my edges. Like I said, I'm not very good at this. So I tend to tuck these bits just behind my ear, even if I've got a style in front of my ear, which I prefer because I don't really like my ears. It's kind of a weird thing not to like. So there we go. They're not like tight down like if I'd used gel, but they're neat. yeah, and then I will just hairspray sort of this a bit more. And if you've got curls that will drop, I would recommend spritzing the whole thing. And then I will leave this in until I leave the house. Yeah, so that's how I set my first day hair. Normally it looks a bit shitter than the other days, but quite happy with that.